Wow. Hi guys. I've had a bunch of comments showing up in my videos recently all about the same thing, about Overwatch with a story mode. Overwatch has a rich world of lore. It spans back over 30 to 40 years to what started everything, the Omnic Crisis, the story of Overwatch, its rise, its fall, the current state of the world as Overwatch reforms into a second generation of heroes, and Talon seems to be on the verge of creating a new Omnic Crisis controlled by them. Then you have all of the characters inside of this world and the lore. These characters all have their own stories that link and intertwine the grudges, the history, the friendships, the tough times and the good times. There is a lot you do not see in game, and I mean a lot, and you could easily go through your entire time playing the game not knowing any of it, even if you felt like you'd like to see it. And I suppose that's where I come in, right? In a way. I do my lore bite videos, my speculation videos and more. They're really fun to make and people seem to really like them, so that's great. But what if you could see these events in action? What if you could play through the bombing of the Swedish headquarters when it was Blackwatch versus Overwatch, the death of Gabriel and Jack, the death of Overwatch. A huge scale battle like that could be very fun to see in game, but how would it fit into the game? A game mode? Like a brawl, for example? It could work, you know, think about the success of Lucio Ball, while you could briefly play that game anyway. If you were playing through such a huge situation like that, with or against friends, that would be awesome. You'd have two factions, the Blackwatch, the Overwatch, led by Jack and Gabriel in their early stages as well. But you wouldn't be able to play as either of those characters, you'd be able to fight with them on your side and help them sort of fight for an objective maybe. The story is being told through cinematics and comics, which are both brilliant. We've had 5 major cinematics so far and 8 comics, and then there's also the very few videos that show the origins of a character. There was a very hard to get hold of one for Tracer as well, which explained her story. It was only shown at Gamescom though, and isn't even on the main Overwatch channel, which is really weird. It's all a bit messy and silly. We could really use a clear-cut way to see the story. Showing major events through brawls could work, but the problem there is the fact that it wouldn't be possible to enjoy for long. Eventually, the brawl would change. And if we had a situation where it wasn't necessarily specifically a brawl, but a game mode you could play, you'd probably find it hard to actually find players who want to do it after the first few weeks of it being released. So overall, I'm unsure about that method. So what we're going to do now is look at 2 games as prime examples of how to have a game which is focused on online play that also has a story mode that's relevant and interesting, something many players can enjoy in their own time outside of the main portion or part of the game. The 2 example games I'm going to talk about are Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Both of these games have a focus on their online play, the ranked fights, and even local co-op with friends, the fighting games. They also put in mini-games and challenges to complete, which will unlock you more cosmetics. It's a good system. But then there's the entire story of these universes. They're a bit messy, but overall they have a good story, and the characters really matter, and we actually want to learn more about them. Like Chun-Li, you know, we have this image of a character in our head that we know, and we have that with Overwatch. In the story mode of these games, you play against AI with various difficulties, but the main part is the setting, showing the characters, progressing a story, and the gameplay actually takes a back burner to it all. It's just the normal fighting, only in a location that suits the current setting of the story. In Mortal Kombat, at one point you crash a helicopter in a city, so guess what? You fight a few people in a city in front of a crashed helicopter. Super simple. Then on the very other side of the spectrum, we have games like Call of Duty that make you kill 5,000 enemy units as you slowly push forward through areas. Then eventually you'll see more cinematics between that. Personally, I don't want to see that in Overwatch. So the big question is, could they show these big scenarios, such as hunting the Omnics as the original 6? Maybe playing as Soldier 76, hunting gangs, then swapping to Reaper, who's hunting former Overwatch agents? Dude, what about the Deadlock gang being taken down by Overwatch on Route 66? The map actually takes place just after that happened, which gives me the perfect segue. The thing about the maps in-game in Overwatch is that it's not canon. Obviously, Reaper wouldn't be fighting alongside Overwatch, and obviously Overwatch wouldn't be trying to EMP an Omnic home on King's Row. That's just messed up. You're just kind of thrown into an area that's relevant to the lore that you just so happen to be playing on. Some of it is from the past, like Route 66. You're literally playing in an area in which McCree and his gang were just taken down. But what if you could play as either faction, trying to rob that train, for example, only to suddenly having to fight Overwatch in their golden age? Then, after the fight, when it's all settled and done, we've done the whole fight, we get to watch a cinematic of Gabriel convincing McCree to join Overwatch. Then, for example, the next mission you do in the story could be playing as McCree doing his first missions as Blackwatch, where things get dirty and off the books and you see this darker side of Overwatch. This would be a great way for Blizzard to make more stellar cinematics that could actually be put in game, like in between missions in StarCraft. Man, I would love that. There's so much they could do with that. But how would it be implemented best? How would it be done best? That's a question that Blizzard might have to answer. But we can come up with our own ideas, so let me know. Would you like to see some form of Overwatch story in-game? And what would be the moments in history that you'd want to actually see and be a part of? And of course, is there any way that you know you would like it to be implemented? My conclusion is that I'd like to see it in the way that they did Warcraft 3 and of course StarCraft. You play through a scenario in mechanics of the normal game and you're rewarded with a really interesting cinematic, and we could just bounce around history and follow the story of Overwatch's rise and fall, and in between we'd see all of the backstories of all of the characters. But maybe you guys have a better idea on how it should be implemented than I do. So thank you for watching, and I'm really looking forward to whatever ideas you might have.